riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, Stimpy to my Ren, co-host extraordinaire. You love him, I tolerate him. Timothy Richardson. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
Incredibly stressed out.
I never know how you're going to answer that question. What's your problem? What's your deal?
Garrett, things have taken a poor turn in our ongoing legal battle with both Disney and Marvel. Their guys are better than Gino, and apparently, I learned this, the losing side has to pay the other guy's legal bills, and their guys cost way more than Gino.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, Gino's room and board, so I'm sorry. And I might be opening myself up to litigation here by even asking, why are we being sued? Why is the entity known as the WIHTA podcast a subsidiary of, you know what, we're not even going to say that.
Exxon. It's Exxon, okay? Exxon and CBS.
They are not a majority stakeholder, merely a silent investor. Emphasis on the silent. Might want to bleep it, Gino. But Tim, what's the fine folks at the Disney Corporation possibly have any issue with what we're doing over here?
Oh, well, as you know, we recently started season 2, but when we first decided to break this great pod up into seasons, our first instinct was to call them phases. Now, we recorded, as you know, around 50 peepisodes and full episodes as phase 2, and I don't know if you know this, I've deleted all of those. Because Marvel got really pissed, they brought the full weight of the mouse down upon us, and we used the name phase 2 so many times during those episodes, it was difficult to edit out. So I just started all over again. That's why this is season 2. Then, Garrett, I saw Shang-Chi, and I thought I had a trump card. So I had Gino countersue because they featured Soul Suckers, which I thought Gino had already filed a patent on. Turned out he fell asleep that day. Marvel owned Soul Suckers, apparently, and I inadvertently brought to their attention that we also regularly feature Soul Suckers. Long story short, I think we're gonna win at court. If we don't, though, we're literally ruined. And on that note, Garrett, you bitched about this last week, so let me ask you, how are you doing this week, friend? I noticed your intermittent feasting diet plan thing seems to be going well. You are really bulking up.
That's right. A lot of people do intermittent fasting, more of an intermittent feaster. Small meals throughout the day, pleated with one large, horrific, gorging meal at the end.
Also, those small meals are small by your standards. They are large meals.
Anyway, thank you for complimenting my physical appearance. You know how much I enjoy that, especially when it's within the bounds of normative friendship areas.
You look great in a swimsuit, is my point.
Yeah, that's too far. Anyway, no, I'm doing horrible. I just learned of an impending lawsuit.
Not impending, friend. Ongoing.
Okay. Well, here's the good news.
There is no good news. Oh, God,
No. If they take us for everything we're worth, so be it. It's not yours and mine. It's the entity of the podcast. We are not liable.
Sure. And also, I have nothing.
Sure. Yeah. No, it is all mine. And the world headquarters is mine personally, but I'm merely an employee of the Why I Hate This Album podcast. I mean, I'm CEO and president, but I am legally distinct from the entity that is this show. So I say, come after us, Disney, Marvel. Boy, you know, I really enjoyed Shang-Chi a lot more than I expected to. Until that third act. Then it's all smoke monsters and dragons or whatever.
Right. I could watch them fight on buses, though. That was fun.
I love a good bus fight. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, they're not going to get much out of us. So all's well that ends well. Devastated to learn we don't own Soul Sucker. And in fact, might owe money for it.
Yeah, I think we should, we can't cane Gino, but, maybe withhold food from him for a bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the elderly version of caning?
Neglect.
Boy, honestly, Tim, we could probably still give him 3 squares a day and just emotionally neglect him.
That's true.
Damn near impossible to get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
All right, show business out of the way, Tim. That turns us to the album itself, and you want to tell the folks at home listening, and I know, some of you, a small selection, you're viewers, and we appreciate that. Find the season 2 feed. For those of you that aren't, Tim, what album have we been listening to for an entire week straight?
We have been listening to the Goo Goo Dolls album that had all the hits on it, what the interwebular network of tubes describes as their second sellout album, Dizzy Up the Girl, released September 22nd, 1998.
And after an entire week with Mr. Reznick and his dolls, I have to ask it, Tim, and I am champing at the bit to know, do you hate this album?
Not yet. But, I mean, this was more tolerable than I thought it was gonna be. What about you, friends? I'm sure you did, in fact, hate this. You are a hateful person.
Not historically.
I disagree.
No, I don't hate it, but I don't disagree. No, but I don't hate it. And I'm going to go one small step further. You said much less awful than you anticipated, and I agree. I will say much more listenable in general, just end to end.
Yeah, it's fairly breezy, and musically it never gets too bad. Well, there's at least one song that is. But yeah, and it's varied. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I came in guns a-blazing, hot and heavy, ready to shit all over these dolls.
Oh, and we will.
Well, sure. Of course
we're going to goo them up good.
Yeah, but before we get into the why, the where, the what, and the how of the GGDs and their DUTG, Tim, it is incumbent upon me to ask, prior to this week, what's your history with these dolls, and specifically this album or any song within it?
I think I owned the previous album, the Goo Boy album.
Fascinating. Regular goo head over here.
Yeah, well, this was one of those 7 Mary 3 and Marcy Playground things. We'll get into that. But I've heard approximately 4 of the songs on this album well enough that I could perform them acoustically for the interns. And I did, repeatedly.
How'd that go? I wasn't
clapped.
Really?
They clapped and they cheered.
Sure.
But you could see there was a lot of dead eyes in that audience.
Okay, I was curious, because they flinch now when you come in the room, so that might have been mandatory claps.
Well, don't do the curb your dog thing.
I also noticed you put applause signs in all of the rooms in here in the world headquarters. That's unusual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Garrett, have you heard this album before? Is this the first time these dolls have goo-gooed you?
Ugh.
Sorry. Is this the first time these Goo Dolls have gooed you?
That's better.
Way better. Yeah.
Way better. Here's a fun answer. I'm not sure. It's around those years I start to really block things out, Tim.
Oh, yeah, the blackout years.
Wait.
Drinking years.
No, not blackout years. Let me explain. Either my sister owned this album or the City of Angels soundtrack. I think the City of Angels soundtrack. But I really knew a lot of songs on this album. Like 7.
Right, yeah. You are a Goo Boy.
I'm not a Goo Boy. You're a Goo Boy. You had the Goo album.
No, I had the Goo Boy album.
Right.
But
making you a Goo Boy.
No. That's not how this works. You were the Goo Boy.
I was a collateral Goo Boy at best.
On the whiteboard, right? Garrett equals Goo Boy.
Why is he doing that?
It's official, man. Goo Boy.
It doesn't mean shit. We use that for a grocery list.
Yeah.
The chalkboard, man. The chalkboard is official.
Gino, chalkboard.
God damn it.
There it is.
This episode's already silly. I didn't want a silly episode today. Okay. Yeah, no, I want to be really clear because I'll probably end up saying it anyway. I knew at least 7 of these songs. How?
You're a Goo Boy. That's how.
Fuck you. Guess I asked for that. All right, that's your history. That's my extensive history. Before we can talk about the album itself and its many Goo songs, it is typical here on the show for me to ask Tim, take us through it. Help us understand, who are the Goo Goo Dolls and how did Dizzy Up the Girl come to be?
Well, there are 2 main Goo Boys in this band, which is likely why there are 2 Goos in the name, or at least 2 constant Goo Boys. The first, John Reznick, aka Jojo, aka Jay Rezz, was the youngest of 5 kids from Buffalo, New York, the second best city in New York, as its city motto implies. Both of his parents were musicians, but they played the decidedly non-rocking instruments, the clarinet and the flute. They were super Catholic, though, so that may have affected him, probably positively. And his dad died of a diabetic coma when he was 15. Then his mom died of a heart attack when he was 16, and he was raised by his 4 sisters and a cousin, surviving and moving out on his own with the help of Social Security's survivor benefits.
Good Lord.
He started playing guitar while going to public/vocational Buffalo High School, and then he went to college for a year. The second, equally important, if not more so, Goo Boy, is Robbie Takak, aka Carl. Now, Carl grew up in Buffalo as well. He went to high school, graduated from college with a degree in communications, without having insane tragedy and/or psychic trauma put upon him. He then played in a bunch of bands in college. He was actually an intern at a Buffalo radio station, so maybe there was some trauma, probably some canings in there.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, Carl joined the band Monarch, then the Beaumonts, and then finally in 1985, the year of my birth, the year Garrett bought his first car, the year Garrett bought his first prostitute, rented, I guess. In 1985, they formed the band The Sex Maggots. And Carl was
one and a half, to be clear. No prostitutes. 1.5. You're sick.
Carl was the lead singer and bassist. Jay Rizz was the guitarist and backup singer. And the entirely historyless George Tutu Ska was the drummist.
Mm-hmm.
In 1986, they made the wise decision to change their name to Goo Goo Dolls based on a True Detective magazine ad. Jay Rizz would later say, "We were young and we were a garage band not trying to get a deal. We had a gig and we needed a name. It's the best we came up with, and for some reason it stuck. If I had 5 more minutes, I definitely would have picked a better name." Now, to be clear, way better than the name Sex Maggots. Garrett, what is a sex maggot?
I mean, do you want me to answer that?
Yes. I mean, it feels like something that would feature prominently in one of your deviant art posts, but...
I do not want that to be part of the IUCU in-show universe
Gino,
continuity.
chalkboard.
Come on, man. I don't want to be posting to deviant art.
No, now you have to.
Gross. So
Also possibly post-date some stuff.
Anyway, presumably a sex maggot, I don't want to answer this, is when one or both of the partners have poor hygiene and fail to properly wash up after intercourse, creating a beneficial, if not inviting, environment for larvae to be, hatched and turn into maggots and eventually flies that come out of your nethers. Sex maggot.
I have no idea why you wanted to share that.
I didn't want to. You asked me.
These Goos were initially a punk band, and they played almost
Sicko.
exclusively covers. But then they realized that's not really how you have a career, so they started writing songs, had a self-titled album in 1987 on Mercenary Records. Then they moved to Celluloid Records, released a second album called Jed in 1989, and in 1990 they released the album Hold Me Up, this time featuring Jay Rizz on a bunch of songs. No one's ever heard any of these records.
Are you saying Johnny Resnick?
Jay Rizz.
Perfect.
It's
Same
short
thing.
for Brzeznik. Yeah. In 1991, they recorded a song for the soundtrack of Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. In 1993, they released Superstar Car Wash, which allegedly more people have heard. Kinda doubt it. One of the songs, though, from that was featured in the film Son-in-Law, a film that is notable in Why I Hate This Album lore as Garrett Harvey's first on-screen appearance. First screen role.
Accurate, and why it is my mother's favorite Pauly Shore film.
Absolutely. She has a lot of opinions on Pauly Shore films, though.
She really does. That's a true statement.
Yep. They fired George in what seems like a royalty dispute and got Mike Malinin on drums. And I have a very hard time saying his last name. So to avoid any confusion, I'm simply going to call him Eminem from here on out. I think that'll clear everything up. So
super clear.
They get really famous from like 90s college band famous, at least, with 1995's A Boy Named Goo, again, an album I believe I owned at one point. Although George played drums on most of, if not all of these tracks, but I assume it was the presence of Eminem that made them so successful. That or dropping the terrible metal punk sound and playing pop rock. I don't know. One of those two.
I think that had a lot to do with it.
They got to be on Charmed. They got to be on Beverly Hills 90210 as a result of the success of that album.
Oh, they were on the Peach Pit After Dark.
I don't know what that means.
So the Peach Pit was a 50s-style diner that Brendan Walsh worked at on 90210, but then he went to college, and towards the end of college, they needed a way to keep the Peach Pit going, so the Peach Pit rebranded into a nightclub. And then to help boost finances at the end of the series run, they started featuring musical appearances by real acts, such as the GGDs, in the third act, and they would just do a full song, of course lip-syncing in almost every event, but at the Peach Pit after dark.
Sounds hot.
It wasn't.
A Boy Named Goo sold more than 2 million copies in the US, and then they got into a lawsuit with their record company and moved to Warner Brothers. Apparently, Jay Rzez had a severe case of writer's block after this, but then he was tapped to write a song for the Nicolas Cage vehicle City of Angels, a really, really good movie that... well, until this week, thought was The Crow.
That's not the same movie. I mean, it's kind of the same movie.
Kinda.
Well, no, because the Crow is like seeking vengeance for his murder
right,
family.
Yeah.
No, but the other angel's an angel of death that's just coming to help people cross to the other side, but without guns.
Yeah.
I can see how you could confuse them.
Basically the same movie. Both have Nicolas Cage with crazy makeup on.
That's untrue.
Anyway, that whole thing resulted in the song Iris, which became a ridiculously popular song. And they followed that up with the album of the week, Dizzy Up the Girl, again featuring Iris, because why wouldn't you? And now they're an official hit. Unfortunately, however, they were a hit in the late 90s, so that's not going to last very long.
Right.
They released Gutter Flower in 2002. It did okay. I think it only made it to, I think it was certified gold, but I think that's about it. So relative disappointment.
That's a steep drop.
Yeah. And then they did a July 4th, 2004 free concert in the rain in Buffalo, a day that has subsequently been proclaimed Goo Goo Dolls Day in Buffalo, New York. Think about that, friend. Buffalo, New York turned its back on our great nation, spit in the face of our Independence Day because Buffalo, New York, does not care about America. They may as well be on the side of terrorists.
You know how many letters we're going to get from our Buffalo listeners?
Speaking of terrorism, in 2004, Jay Rzez performed Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here with Frederick James Durst, FED himself of The Biscuit, as a tribute to / assault on victims of 9/11.
That is gross.
Yep. Especially, I mean, come on. Wish You Were Here. Come on, man. Just come on.
That is in poor taste.
Goo Goo Dolls released Let Love in 2006, Something for the Rest of Us in 2010, Magnetic in 2013. None of this is really interesting. In 2013, however, Eminem left the band and sued them in 2014 for wrongful termination, saying he was fired for requesting paternity leave because bands are just not the same as in 1974, the year rock attained perfection.
Wow. Yeah, that's not very rock and roll.
No. I mean, listen, if you're a rock star, you use the opportunity to not hang out with your family and to do cocaine in hotel rooms, right? Eminem would, however, go on to drum for the wonderful Tanya Tucker, who I guess has a much better family environment in her touring schedule, but you also may know her from her rendition of Delta Dawn when she was 13. Fabulous
I don't.
Song. Oh, okay. That song was played very prominently in Saudi Arabia on the military radio that we listen to sometimes.
Oh, okay. So I should not.
In 2015, they did part of the soundtrack to the Broadway musical Finding Neverland and released the album Boxes in 2016. In 2017, they released an EP called You Should Be Happy. In 2018, they released 2 live albums. 2020, they released what the internet chillingly, ominously describes as their first Christmas album. They did that on Halloween for some reason. And in 2021, Jay Rzez announced that they would release Chaos in Bloom in the year of our Lord 2022, which may or may not have happened. I did not check. Garrett LaFace.
Shalaby. Excellent history, Tim. Nice and compact. Covered a lot of ground quickly. Really skimmed over those non-existent albums. We say that here on the show because no one's ever heard them.
And no one ever will.
Correct. So that is the history. That brings us to general thoughts. And I created a short list of bands that I hear in this band. May I read that list to you?
Oh, perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, I've got Bush, I've got Train, I've got Eve 6 a little bit.
Eve 6 is a good one. When they punk it up a little bit, they sound a lot like Eve 6.
Yeah, but to be clear, enjoy Eve 6 more.
Yeah.
Then you got like your moments of Third Eye Blind, some Jimmy Eat World, maybe some Yellow Card. touch of Bare Naked Ladies. Then you got your Tonic, your Live, your Wallflowers.
2 of these songs are Wallflower songs.
At least 2. Collective Soul, Five for Fighting. I don't know if you know Five for Fighting.
I do. We were going to do an episode on them at some point.
You got your Sugar Ray, you got your...
Matchbox 20. I don't know if you said
Matchbox
them.
20. I did not. That's a pretty good list.
Right, which is to say that it's varied, but it's all generic. This is alt pop rock, and you can pretty much go back and listen to our Matchbox 20, Third Eye Blind, and any of those bands that we've done episodes on, and just basically insert general thoughts from that here, because, it's the same thing.
So, now we've kind of covered just what are we hearing? Because at first I was like, I have a real problem calling this rock and roll, and maybe I should just get past that, but putting it into the category of those other bands, and it's an amalgamation, and it never quite hits the heights of really any of those bands. I guess I don't know a lot of Yellow Card songs. Maybe it exceeds the heights of Yellow Card.
Maybe.
In any event, maybe. Tough to say. That's kind of the general sound. You said it perfectly, Tim. Sort of an alt rock pop thing. Maybe even a hint of indie. I don't really know. But
sure, this is manufactured for college radio music in 1995.
Sure. No, that sounds good. Mm-hmm.
We should say the quality does vary between songs, right? Some of these are quite good. Some of them sound like the worst praise and worship band you've ever heard at your local Methodist church, that service where they try to trick the youths into thinking church is cool because they don't play hymns. It's way worse than mediocre bar band level.
Right. I agree.
And I think part of the reason for that is because they don't really want to be playing this type of music, right? They started off as something way heavier. No one bought that, and they would like that pile of money, actually. Which, nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
It does leave a feeling throughout a lot of these songs that they don't really care about some of them. Maybe even most of them.
Right. Which brings me to an important question. If that's the sound, let's talk a little bit about something we never talk about. The album art and title.
Okay.
Dizzy Up the Girl. Which, almost certain you call this album Dizzy Up the World on the last episode.
Oh.
Hilarious. Anyway, Dizzy Up the Girl with a woman passed out on a bed, right?
Right. Yep.
Should I say it? What's this about, man?
It seems to be, again, I don't think the album's about this, but the title does appear to be about drugging a lady, right?
That's what it appears to be. So I did some digging, and Johnny says, quote, "It was inspired by a girl he knew who works too hard and doesn't take much time out for fun. She is, quote, she's way too serious. It just came into my head when I was driving down the street one day when I was thinking about her. I said, why don't I just take her out and dizzy her up a little bit? Take the girl out, show her a good time.
Oh, so he wants to do like a pretty woman on her, but forcibly, and also maybe drug her.
Right. And she won't remember it. It's not going to be much like Pretty Woman. It's going to be more like the gritty reboot of Pretty Woman. Oh. You're going to have Alien Ant Farm do a cover. Anyway, so that's what he says it's about. So Nail on the Head seems to be about drugging a woman who needs to learn to loosen up.
Right.
Jesus. So let's see. General thoughts. We've hit, what does it sound like? We've hit the cover art and title. So general themes of this music is really where things start to fall apart. This is where I have the biggest problem with this album. I might even borderline it's fine, if not for the fact that it is so heavy-handed with, how do I classify this? Focus on women, hitting on women, being with women, and saving women.
Oh, yes. He is the messiah of women. He's really just going to walk in right on top of that water and just carry them to safety.
Solve all your problems.
Yeah. And it gets real weird. A lot of the lyrics, so first of all, they seem to hate women quite a bit in a lot of these songs. I'm just going to throw that out there. But a lot of the lyrics, it's not even just saving them. It's this weird, manipulative, I'm saving you, but really I've got this whole dentist system worked out. It's this weird, manipulative lunacy that sort of passed for romantic in the 90s, based on sitcoms. This seems to have been pretty common.
Yeah, you really hit the nail on the head here. A lot of it crosses the realm into sinister. And
it's sinister pop rock. It's Sinpo-ro.
Sinpo-ro. You heard it here first, folks. Hashtag Sinpo-ro. Naturally, that should catch on quite easily.
Stay away from it, Marvel and Disney, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, trademark. Patent pending. What do you have to say? Isn't there a thing you can say? Registered.
Sure.
I don't know.
One of those. We'll say all of them, and then...
Yeah, what's the copyright equivalent of allegedly? Lawyers,
maybe, how about this? How about Gino just doesn't fall asleep this time and actually takes it down to the old trademark office?
I love that in theory, Tim, but we need something we can put into place today that might actually happen.
Fair.
I've seen that guy fall asleep in a pile of cocaine. I'm laughing because it's true. Anyway.
Yeah, also, I'm laughing because your times with Gino sound more entertaining than mine.
No. Ever
Mine
been locked in a room with Gino and a pile of cocaine?
That's true. Boring as hell.
Back to the album, it becomes exhausting how much most of these songs are about pining over, obsessing over, and whining about women.
Yes.
And I want to be clear, like placing the blame squarely at Goo Goo Dolls' feet here. It's the same topic over and over. And after around song 7, you just start to be like, just get to fucking Iris and let's round home.
Yeah. And then also when you get to Iris and you hear the lyrics really for the first time.
Boy, it's fascinating that you can know an entire song T2B, but not actually have a goddamn clue what words are coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Unreliable narrator. Anyway, what have we not said about the album in general before we get into the song by song? Oh, I know one thing I think you touched on, ever so lightly, but let's address it now. There's loosely 2 types of songs on here. What I call classic Goo Goo Dolls that vary in quality, but you know what I mean, general sound.
Yeah.
And then there's the ones written by the bassist.
Sure, who was originally the main guy.
Right.
You're talking about Carl.
I thought I had a different name, but we can go with Carl.
Well, you can say Robbie Tanak, but I'm going to go with Carl because it hurts my throat to say his last name.
I don't think you're saying it right. Carl. Can't protect them all, Rick.
Right, just like The Walking Dead, the fact that his name is actually Carl implies that his parents named a baby Carl. Who's doing that? Listeners, are you named Carl? And if so, were you named Carl as a child? And if so, were you called Carl as a child, or did they go with something like Junior? Because who's calling a boy like a 6-year-old? Carl? There's no 6-year-old Carl.
Not without a mustache taped to that face. Getting off topic. Back to the album itself. I tried my damnedest, Tim, to try to come up with better explanations for what a lot of these songs are about in place of the very obvious, I love you, I miss you, please don't go, I hate you.
Yeah.
But that's going to be there.
I mean, we
background.
could stop it there.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
We could rule of one this thing.
Wow. Someday it's going to happen. Eventually something will happen where we're just like, fuck this and everything about it. We're done. But this is not that day, and I took way too many notes. Timmy, track number 1, Dizzy.
Starts off with some nice energy, kind of pop-punky, I guess. I didn't hate it right out the gate.
Yeah, I characterized it as like the jam the band plays while they're all getting on stage and picking up their instruments to like get into a groove before they play anything real.
Right. But this is a song. This is a song that it seems to be, on face value, it's about a nightmare of a human being whose only redeeming quality is, I guess, being pretty. That's what they want you to think.
Okay, I won't quite reveal what I think it's about till we get a little bit into it. I want to mention how the first bit is delivered.
Oh, sure. Please, if you want to do it as Jerez does it, I would love that.
It may shred the vocals here for the rest of the episode.
It's so forceful.
It's alarming. You're cynical and beautiful. You always make a scene. You're monochrome, delirious. You're nothing that you seem. I'm drowning in your vanity. Your laugh is a disease. You're dirty and you're sweet. You know you're everything to me.
It's like John Cougar Mellencamp was brought in
at gunpoint.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the first verse here, it's a guy who, because at first, again, if you take this at face value, it's this woman that he loves despite all of her faults.
Sure.
But it's just him negging her, Garrett. This is just him trying to destroy someone's confidence so she will be more susceptible to accepting his suggestions and demands and subtle hints, and we're going to get into it.
I couldn't agree more, which is fascinating because I don't even have the same theory as you, but I couldn't agree more. Let me explain how that's possible. I viewed this from the perspective of the worst guy in the bar ever. So the first verse is him spitting out some of the lines that he worked on in front of the mirror this morning, and it's just not going how he thought it would. So he's just like, hey, how you doing? Good. You're cynical and beautiful. You always make a scene. I'm sorry, what? Oh, babe, I'm just saying you're monochrome, delirious. You're nothing that you seem. I'm gonna find my friends. Hold on. I'm drowning in your vanity. Your laugh is a disease?
Yeah, this was a bad idea.
Oh, fuck. This is going poorly. Which is why you get such a sudden shift in tone in what I think is the chorus. And it's much more bubbly and goo-gooey. I won't try to replicate it. Can't. But in much more of the Johnny Resnick's voice, he says, everything you are falls from the sky like a star. Everything you are, whatever ever you are.
Everything that you are falls from the sky like a star. Yeah, it's terrible. But yeah, it's a wild shift, and I thought the same thing. It's sort of this isn't working.
Let me try something else. But then he kind of fumbles it, and so instead of saying you're an angel falling from heaven, he confuses it with a shooting star, and he's like, everything you are falls from the sky like a star? And she's like, what does that even mean? What am I exactly? Everything you are, whatever ever you are.
Yeah, it's a very common compliment in, we'll say, the Dutch.
Oh, both of my parents are Dutch. Ah, fuck. You know what? I'm going to be on the other side of the bar here. Can you pretend we didn't meet?
Okay, but then it immediately kind of goes back to that creepy thing. I mean, the chorus is, of course, creepy, but he kind of already, in what will become the worst recurring theme in one of our albums, he wants to be her savior. He wants her to develop a weird codependent relationship with him where she is dependent emotionally, maybe has a place to live. And she can't leave him and will also bang him. He's the kind of guy that will use any perceived, flaw, any psychological thing, anything he can do to get in there and trick her good.
He may even show her his bank account to him.
Well, sure. Yeah, it's the kind of thing where you open up your wallet and you got that Magnum condom in there so she knows you got a giant dong. It's like it
That would be so crazy to do.
He's Frank Reynolds is what I'm saying.
Listeners, write in hatePodMail@gmail.com.
Do you have a giant dong?
No, that's not what we're asking ever.
Oh.
I mean, I guess inadvertently that is exactly what I'm about to ask. No, have you ever been hit on by somebody that was like, hey, look at this. You know what that means? Or are you doing that? And if so, as a joke, or does it work? Okay, I'm curious. All of those, any of those, hatePodMail@gmail.com. Back to the song. Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. I think that having failed every other approach to this woman, he is now going with the savior approach. He says, I want to kick at the machine that made you piss away your dreams and tear down your defenses till there's nothing there but me. That's creepy.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
It really comes across, do you remember, and this is, well, of course you remember, it feels like dialogue that Lars von Trier would write for Willem Dafoe to say to Charlotte Gainsborough in Antichrist. It's a psychiatrist treating his own family members, but he's doing it wrong because he's in a weird cabin in the possibly possessed woods.
Yeah, he's emotionally invested in the patients, and there might be a demon fox controlling his actions.
Sure, and it's mostly because he wants to bang.
Right. Complicated movie.
We should do, speaking of Antichrist and Charlotte Gainsborough, we should do the most uncomfortable / last prepisode ever. A 13-year-old Charlotte Gainsborough and her father, Serge Gainsborough's 1985 French single, Lemon Incest.
No, can we not?
It could be like the last episode, maybe.
I vote no. Anyway, song wraps up when he says, you're angry when you're beautiful. Your love is such a tease. I'm drowning in your dizzy noise. I want to feel you scream. Which, on the surface sounds like torture at worst, BDSM at best. But I think it's much more of an uncomfortable reaction to a woman who is now screaming in the face of this man who has done a very bad job at selling himself to her.
Absolutely. The other interesting thing, he says you're angry when you're beautiful. I assume he meant to say you're beautiful when you're angry?
Well, no, I don't think he meant to.
Why would he meant to? That's the sentiment that he meant.
Well, sure, but it's art, Tim.
I don't think this is art. I think this is a shameless cash grab, which is, again, I'm fine with. But are they fine with it?
See, now this is a fun question. I think it's art. I think this is their art mixed with commerce. Most of it is their art mixed with a hint of commerce. Song has a instrumental breakdown followed by a chorus that's repeated somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 8 times. And that brings us to track number dos, Slide.
Before we discuss this song, we should note that if we have wildly different interpretations of this, it might be because I listened to this in the Big Apple, the great state of New York. Garrett listened to this mostly in Austin, Texas, internalists, as I've brought them all up here. But given the subject matter of this song, we might have had very different interpretations.
I'll be very curious to know.
Well, I'm just saying you might not have any idea what this is about because, I heard this in a place where getting an abobo is still very much legal until 2024. Whereas you didn't. Why do you want us to stay in Texas?
Because we bought instead of leased. That's why.
Yeah, the market has taken something of a downturn recently.
Yeah. Anyway, Tim's abortion jokes aside, this song was fucking everywhere in 1998.
Oh, yeah.
This is more what I expect from a Goo Goo Dolls song, of course. Sounds much more like all those other bands we listed.
Yeah, it's very happy sounding, it's bouncy, it's really catchy, and I think everyone knows at least the chorus/bridge, even if you don't know any of the verses or what this is about.
I wanna wake up where you are.
Yeah.
I won't say anything at all. Anyway, we'll get there. Turns out this song is about a very serious and not funny subject at all. Let's get into it. So, song opens as we all know. Could you whisper in my ear the things you want to feel? I'd give you anything to feel it coming. And I'm going to pause right there. I think the sentiment is, I want to make you happy, but I don't know what he means to feel it coming. What's coming? You know?
Oh, I think he's saying it's really okay. He's asking what she wants, but it's so he can do whatever is needed to get what he wants, which is coming.
Oh, that's very manipulative.
Yeah, he's a very manipulative person. Jay Rezezes is a manipulative monster.
I see. So whatever it takes.
Oh, and sorry, he is a listener. I don't mean you personally. I mean the person you present as yourself artistically. You're a very nice man, I'm sure.
Sure. Well, did you not speak to him for the history?
No, I couldn't get a hold of him. I actually only got George, the drummer that parted ways early.
Yeah. It's probably mostly a lot of angry screeds.
Yeah. I didn't actually include most of it in the history. He seems like he missed out on the good years.
Yeah, I read the transcripts. A lot of outdated language, allegedly. Anyway, song continues. Do you wake up on your own and wonder where you are? You live with all your faults. I want to wake up where you are. I won't say anything at all, so why don't you slide? Yeah, we're gonna let it slide.
Yeah, what do they mean by slide, first of all?
Well, let's build up to that because I'm not sure I have an answer, but at least we could do our best sleuthing. Do you wake up on your own and wonder where you are? You live with all your faults. So do you ever wake up and just realize how much of a piece of shit you are?
Well, I didn't until you pointed it out constantly, Jay Rezez.
Right. And then I want to wake up where you are, and I won't even say anything about how much of a piece of shit you are. I'll just let it slide. Why don't we just let it slide?
Right. I think what he's saying is you're a monster. You're the worst. The world, if they knew who you are, would never forgive you. But I would.
Yes.
I'm your only option.
I want to wake up next to you, and I won't say anything. I'll just let it slide. Now, we've been dancing around it a little bit, Tim. The next verse really hits the nail on the head as to what this song is actually about. Do you love the life you killed? The priest is on the phone. Your father hit the wall. Your ma disowned you. And let me pause there. This song, apparently, is about whether or not to get an abortion, though I would argue that part of the song seems to clarify it's not much of a discussion at this stage.
Well, it might be, though, because I think you could take the line, don't you love the life you killed, in one of two ways. Either the life you killed is a very judgmental statement about her decision, or the life she killed was her own future by getting pregnant, right? Like, don't you love the life you had planned for yourself, that future that was so bright that you've now
Nursing
killed
school.
By getting pregnant, you whore. Sorry.
What a whore. Now, had you been married, would have been fine.
Right. Well, then you've already, killed your life, right? You've committed to Jay Rezezes.
Yep. Your father hit the wall and your ma disowned you. Okay, I'm with you, Tim. Continues. I don't suppose I'll ever know what it means to be a man. It's something I can't just change. I live around it. Is he saying he can't really be a man unless he has a child and pass on those genes?
Possibly. If so, again, it's super judgmental, right? If don't you love the life you killed is didn't you want to have that baby? Then you get down to, I don't suppose I'll ever know what it means to be a man. Like, you're throwing a lot on this poor lady, you monster. Like, I'll never be a man now. You took that away from me with your... What? Dude.
Well, at that point, too, I don't think you get to say, I'm going to let it slide. Because you have not. You have not let it slide. You've brought it up in the most horrific context possible.
Yeah, well, again, listen, he's going to let it slide. He's forgiven her. He is the one who understands and the only one who could ever love her. But he's got to keep reminding her of why no one else would ever love her if only they knew, you know?
Like, so lights go out, end of the day, little pillow talk. They're both just staring up at that dark ceiling. And he's like, hey, sweetie, do you ever just wake up in like a cold sweat in the middle of the night and you're like, God, I'm a real piece of shit. I'm lucky this fucking guy next to me. Like, I should even be suspicious of this guy because he's willing to let it slide with such a piece of shit. Good night.
I think every time he turns the light off, it's not even that. It's like super specific. The lights go off and he goes, man, you killed our baby, huh? and then you know, like I'm okay with it. Just, you know, something to think about maybe.
Maybe we split the difference, something slightly passive aggressive. Light goes out. You know, I don't think we'd have been able to go to bed at 12:30 if we'd had that child. Yeah, I guess not.
Now, so his voice sounds like Stewie Griffin.
Just for my own amusement. No reason.
Oh.
No, it's just a funnier way to deliver just horrific things to people. Anyhoozle. Okay, so song continues, and I'll do anything you ever dreamed to be complete. Little pieces of the nothing that fall. I have no idea what that means. Best I came up with is that he will literally do anything for her for the small scraps that she's willing to dole out to him.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that in his mind, he's saying, you've done something so bad that no one could forgive you, but I'd do anything to fix you. As, again, he said in the first song, he's saving her. He's saving his sweet May.
Well, most important question of the whole song, Tim. It continues. Oh, May, put your arms around me. What you feel is what you are, and what you are is beautiful. Oh, May, do you want to get married or run away? Tim, is this about a woman named May, or is he really saying, oh, my, put your arms around me?
Oh, my God. Are you saying, is he J-deviling this? I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, he might be in-syncing you. It's gonna be May.
Oh, fuck this song. Even if it's a possibility, no thank you.
Yeah, so then we get an instrumental breakdown with some woos.
The instrumental breakdown sounds really wallflowersy.
No disagreement here. We get the outro where he says, slide between the sheets of all them beds you never knew. Yeah, slide. Why don't you slide into my room? Just slide into my room and we'll run away, run away, run away. The slide into the sheets of all the beds you never knew. Is he like listing her options? Hey, you can leave me and go fuck all those people I know you want to, you fucking whore. Or stay with me and we can run away together.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's saying, pick me over the obviously better life you could have without me instead of sliding into all of those metaphorical. And yes, I know some of them are literal beds. Just stand.
I think he's painting himself as the better option.
Sure, but then he also says he phrases it as my room, which makes me think he still lives with his parents, right? He doesn't say slide into the... That's not how an adult refers to their anything.
Yeah, but he then also refers to all those other people as sliding into the sheets of all those folks you never knew. So it's not as though they just live in a bed. She's not going to go sleep in a bunch of beds out in the middle of nowhere. So, little artistic license. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, Tim. But I don't hate the interpretation. He does seem like a 41-year-old man who lives in the basement of his parents' house. Let's not be cliched, in his childhood bed.
Yeah. And again, this part also kind of makes me think he's trying to talk her out of an abobo that has not happened yet. He says, don't go off to college and have a good time. Don't live a life full of adventures and random beds. Don't move to the Big Apple. Stay here in Buffalo with me and we'll raise our baby in my parents' basement. No, thank you.
We'll call the big one Bitey. Track number 3, Broadway.
The cowboy kills the rock star. And Friday night
This is a real Wallflowers song. From the organ on up.
Yeah, no, I have no complaint there. Absolutely. It's based on a real street in Buffalo, New York. Ooh.
Yeah, definitely not the Big Apple's Broadway. This has been compared repeatedly to the Replacements' Here Comes a Regular, and I get that. It's kind of got like a Springsteen thing too, like the somebody peaked in high school kind of thing that happens in a lot of his music.
Yeah, if taken at face value, it sounds like a guy returning home to Broadway and seeing the blue-collar townies that didn't escape and their hypocrisies and their loops of pointless drudgery until death. And he's quietly or not so quietly judging them. I chose to go a different way because, sorry, Resnick, Springsteen did it, and he did it better. So I chose to go in more of a haunted or damned situation like your Derry or Castle Rock, Maine.
Oh, I like that.
Song opens up, Broadway's dark tonight, a little bit weaker than you used to be. Broadway's dark tonight. See the young men sitting in the old man's bar, waiting for his turn to die. So, I think Broadway is probably where the majority of these murders have happened, or perhaps there could be an it-like creature living in a storm drain beneath the street. Not here to say specifically. I didn't write the song. But, as these things tend to, preys mostly on children, so it's a little bit weaker now that he's older. He's an adult returning to Haunted Buffalo.
I am super into this. I have a single change, though.
Okay.
It's not a clown monster in that sewer, Garrett. It's a cowboy monster. Dresses like a cowboy.
Now, folks, if you're unfamiliar with the song, and I hope you are, that sounds ridiculous. However, let me support you here in this moment, co-host. That makes a heck of a lot of sense.
And yeah, I think, in all honesty, I mean, I don't want children to be afraid of cowboys in the future. That doesn't make sense, but it could be a really terrifying image.
I mean, you've introduced me to some characters that I wouldn't care to meet in a dark alley.
That's fair. Those guys, the ones you're talking about, are sort of like the special forces of the cowboys. They are way more hardcore than they need to be, and I am pretty hardcore myself.
Well, I kept asking them details about like what they did and stuff, and most I got out of any of them is they said they would, quote, buck my Bronco.
Oh,
What does that mean?
Oh, Garrett, you'll know when it happens.
I'd rather not. Back to the song at hand, Tim. We get to the titular line, and by that I mean this new cowboy theme. The cowboy kills the rock star, and Friday night's gone too far. Dim light hides the years on all the faded girls. So yeah, we've got a rock star murdered by a sewer clown. Nope, sorry, sewer cowboy. Do a quick find and replace on these notes.
That does make sense, Garrett, because this is not a feud that is frequently discussed, mostly because it would seem like a conflict of interest for me on this show. But rock stars are, of course, a tight-knit worldwide society similar to your ninja, samurai, English dandies, pirates, SoundCloud rapists, Scientologists, psychiatrists, dolphins, Australians, etc., that we as cowboys do feud with from time to time.
Interesting. I thought you guys were allies.
We have allies with some of those groups. It's like the Bloods and the Crips and some of the, more minor gangs. There's affiliations that come and go.
I see.
Really, yeah, so like 1984, Oceana and the whatever.
That's a terrible example. What a horrible metaphor. Not all rock stars are enemies of the Cowboys. Probably a fair thing to say.
Sure, there are some that are honestly just there for the music and not there for domination. Territory.
Yeah, what happens? Oh, God, I really don't want to know the answer, but I'm going to ask it. What happens if there's ever just a cowboy who's out there on the range doing the damn thing, classic, and then, you guys come over, rendition him, take him to your creepy little clubhouse and try to indoctrinate him into all the weird sex stuff. And he's just like, whoa, I just need to move a large herd of cattle from here to there so I may butcher it. What do you guys do with that?
Well, either we make him join or we, at the bare minimum, insist that he not wear cowboy accoutrement. You can wear a baseball hat and Dockers. Maybe a polo shirt and some of those those golf shoes. That's fine.
Presumably anything that's not associated with cowboys. Now, Tim, I wear cowboy shit all the time just to get you pissed off. Are you telling me there's a whole secret society of people that are furious that I'm wearing cowboy gear?
Yes, that's what I've been telling you for years. What is happening?
I thought you were just angry about it. Now, I grew up in Cowtown, Tim. Does that not give me any sort of bona fides? I have roped a sheep as a young boy.
Let me tell you something, Garrett. We were testing you, and you were bad at it. You were judged not worthy.
Great. You know what? Full honesty time, I was not great. I was scared to death. Scared to death. One and done for good old G. Harvey. Get out there and rope that sheep. No, thank you. That was terrible. Smells like garbage. Kicked me in the face a bunch.
Yeah,
you
they
go
do.
rope the sheep.
They do smell bad, and they are kicky.
Yeah. Turns out that was just the amusement for adults to watch me be bad at something.
Yes.
Fuck
Is
you
this
guys.
something that your father set up?
Yes. Well, no, he didn't set up the rodeo. We were just at a rodeo. And
Now, your father looks a great deal like Sam Elliott.
At times, yes.
I'm
If
just
in
saying.
cowboy garb.
I'm just saying, Garrett.
What are you saying?
I felt bad because I didn't really know this story until just now, but I didn't want to tell. Garrett, your father's a high-ranking member on the council. Yeah.
No,
And
I will not.
That's my daughter.
I need a Sean Penn level of reaction here that I'm just not capable of. I can't believe that.
Go ask him. Actually, no, better yet. Go have him dress as a cowboy, and then you tell me that that's not that's not his natural state.
It's so alarming that he does have like a little section of his closet that's just like, here's cowboy stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the man ride a bike with spurs, Garrett.
Yeah, but that was for a goof.
No, Garrett.
It's for speed.
That's right.
Wow. Okay. Wow. This is
For speed
this is
and
enough
integrity.
to completely derail the entire episode. I'm going to try to hold it together. This is my 9/11, everybody.
And this is speaking from a man that was in Lower Manhattan on 9/11.
Oh, why is the truth always funnier?
Oh,
Fuck, man.
that's a terrible idea. Anyway, so there's a cowboy hunting Derry, Maine.
Yes. Well, it's not hunting dairy, it's hunting buffalo.
Sure.
Broadway, specifically. You see, you'd love to run home, but you know you ain't got one, because you're living in a world that you're best forgotten round here.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, those kids. There's nowhere
Don't
left
go
to
back.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, can't go back, and you can't go home. That's the creepy part about it. Or, we got to give it a name. Him?
Partner.
Yeah, that's where I was
Partner.
at, but partner is more. But that's him. I like that.
Wild Bill.
Well, that's quite a name. Also, it's taken. Ooh,
Right.
what if we took back Machine Gun Kelly?
Oh,
Very-
no, that's if it's like
super
a 30s
confusing
gangster,
for a
yeah.
cowboy. Yeah, Cowboy Pete, because it's disarming. But then he flays you,
Yeah, he does.
eats your skin while you scream. Cowboy Pete, sure, lives under Broadway in Buffalo. Song continues. You choke down all your anger, forget your only son. You pray to statues when you're sober up just for fun. Of course, speaking to the hypocrisy of getting blitzed out of your mind on the bars on one side of the street, only to wander over to a church on Sunday morning the next and pray to a God that cannot save you from this demon
I
hunting buffalo.
assume. Okay, so what's happened here is that this is the father that had two sons originally, not an only son. One of them dressed as in a yellow raincoat one day and got pulled down, spurs a clinking, and now he ignores his only son and is either spending time getting drunk to forget or praying in a Catholic church.
Right, for the return of his boy that was consumed by Cowboy Pete.
Sure. It goes on, your anger don't impress me, the world slapped in your face. It always rains like hell on the Losers' Day parade. And now I think this is where it brings it all together. What were the kids called in it?
Something Losers Club, baby?
Yeah, the Losers Club, exactly. This is
Interesting.
about some sort of cowboy it.
Yeah, Cowboy It.
Cowboy
We
Pete.
could have just gone with that. Or Cowboy. I really like Cowboy Pete, though. So it's weird that he's in a storm drain. Can't fully explain that. Don't think we have to. But since he can't have a balloon, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. Most cowboys don't have, they have balloon animals for some reason. A lot of cowboys have balloon animals. Do you have an explanation for that?
I think you're thinking of some of our outreach to children. It's like
In
the
any
sheep
event.
thing, but it's less of a test and more of an enticement.
Interesting. Anyway, I guess you like ponies. And so you got some like you can see like the snout of a pony down below. Oh,
I like no. The cowboy is there in full
and the
view,
horse is-
and
and
as
the
he
pony's
says
talking.
that, as he says that, a pony rises up next to him as if it is his equal.
yeah. No, we're picturing the same thing. But who's talking, Cowboy Pete or the pony?
Well, I mean, if it is the pony, it would be some sort of weird ventriloquism act.
No, it wouldn't. They live in a sewer, Tim, and they're
demons.
eating children.
I know.
Yeah, demon horses can talk.
In conversation.
That's how it's done, folks. Track number 4, January Friend, a Robbie Takak original.
It's a Carl original, we could say.
Carl!
Lyrics couldn't be more different from the rest. This is almost an attempt to ape grunge. It's kind of opaque and minimalist on purpose, mostly to hide the fact that this guy forgot to write the song until the day they were recording it.
Sure, it is a little more pop punk, but only barely.
Sure.
It also reminded me vaguely of the Rembrandt song, the Friends song.
Oh, kind of. By the way, fell into that fountain the other day. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, nobody believes you fell.
I did. I'm not good at skateboarding.
Sure.
My spurs got caught in the skateboard.
Yeah, we got to talk about that off mics. You've got to stop wearing those. It was weird in Austin. It's super weird here.
Oh, what is a January Friend?
Well, Tim, I'm so happy you asked because I put a mountain of thought into it and I have an answer.
I do too. I'd love to hear yours, though.
I think a January Friend is a sex worker that a man visits once a year for the month of January who
The
pretends...
entire month.
Correct.
Oh.
And pretends to be his girlfriend, aka his January friend. And they do all like normal girlfriend stuff. But we're going to get into what they really do here in a little bit.
Interesting. Yeah. I had sort of I had the exact opposite kind of thing. I thought it was a temporary friend, maybe somebody you only see in January. And then I thought, who would you only see in January? So then I came to maybe this young lady. I picture that was Isla Fisher. Is that her name?
Probably Isla Fisher, but
Isla Fisher, yeah. Picture her. She works on an Arctic fishing vessel. And she works there like 11 months of the year, but during January, the ice is too thick to like actually get any work done. So the whole crew takes the month of January off. She comes to visit you. Maybe you take care of her house the other 11 months. You know, it's a sexy lady Arctic fisherwoman that Carl has a fling with every January. I think it's the same thing as my point.
Yeah, we're really not that far off.
Yeah, just it's the transactional nature, I think, is the only difference.
Yeah,
and the
also
fishing.
Mine's going to get... Well, yeah, yours has a lot of ice fishing involved.
My lady has very rough hands from the ropes. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean...
But strong.
Oh, yeah. It's a mixed bag.
Sure. I mean, I can work with that. Maybe she wears a glove filled with Vaseline like that guy from that book.
Okay. No. Please carry on. Let's move off this topic.
Okay, song opens Reach for Higher Ground about the way you look, the way you scream out loud. Mine, just like the last time, it's all the same to me, she said. Okay, let's pause right there. The Reach for Higher Ground about the way you look, the way you scream out loud. I think that's the sex worker telling him to take pride in himself, shower up, treat this like a real relationship. Now, it's probably for her own benefit. Anybody who literally has no human contact with anyone except for his January friend for 4 weeks a year is probably not doing great on the whole personal health thing. But, she's trying to make the most of it. And it's not a sexual thing, Tim. It's an emotional connection, but it's all he can afford.
Sure, but it is also sexual.
Well, of course it is.
At least for him.
Oh, well, It's going to be for her, too.
Oh, okay.
So, song continues, as I said, mine, just like the last time, it's all the same to me, she said. Let's pretend, my January friend, I wanted you again. I want to touch you, every single heart that beats. Pretend. So, she's trying to help him get into the illusion, but, normally gets in his own head and he's afraid to make a move on her, even though she does unspeakable sex acts for very small sums of money all the other weeks of the year. But he is so shy, so self-conscious that he can barely even make a move on his lady of the evening.
That's tragic.
Well, she keeps telling him to pretend.
Yeah, that's true.
And then she tells him to cry. But don't cry out loud. You've got to bear your cross, but never dream too loud. I think good part of that January, he's just, they go to dinner, maybe see a movie, go back to his place. And about that time, they would have, horrible, very short, unfulfilling sex. He just cries. And she's like, hey, it's okay to cry. Not right now. Don't do it in front of me. Certainly don't do it when you're about to have sex.
Maybe wait 4 weeks. That's what the rest of your year could be about.
Yeah, but, not shockingly, if a man is literally only having a human connection 1 month out of 12, he's probably going to try to cram all sorts of weird things into that month.
Well, sure. A lot of crying.
Yeah, a lot of it will be crying. Song continues, and you're tied to the next time you realize your crimes. Pause. What?
What
about
know.
the crimes?
I don't know.
Never been sure about the crimes. The only thing I could think of is maybe that explains the crying. Not only, do they go on dates and he introduces her to his parents, but maybe he's also like confessing what happens those other 11 months. Maybe this January friend is, oh God, okay.
Maybe it takes him 3 weeks into that month to realize that prostitution is illegal. That's the crime.
Oh, no. I was going to say maybe it takes him the whole time he's confessing all these crimes of these women he's murdered, never divulging that it's always been his January friend and that she's next.
Dude. It's a different January friend every year because of the stranglings, I would assume. It's probably the way to do it, I would think.
Well, the song continues. Time stood still Monday morning. Yeah. Showed me what I had to see. It's not the way I thought it to be. So eventually she did something to anger him. He realized it was all a facade. And when that February 1st came rolling around, it was a shallow grave and on to the next January friend. Or probably back to some job in which he saves up for his next January friend.
Yeah.
Confusingly, Genius claims there's only 11 January friends in this song, but my loose count when listening was somewhere in the realm of 41.
I would trust you. I think this album on Genius Lyrics, there was a lot of it just says chorus and it doesn't actually have the chorus retranscribed.
That's got to be what's going on. Yeah. Jesus. My January friend. Yeah. Track 5, Black Balloon.
When the acoustic guitar and shitty generic singing start, it feels like something some frosted-tipped jackass would be playing to a church youth group because they are forced to listen.
Or, completely at home in a Potbellies.
Yes, that too. They have live
stick
music
somebody
there
up in the
sometime.
Yeah, but they're have you ever been to one where they're wedged up in the rafters, haunting the Potbellies? It's very confusing. I don't know how they get down. I don't think they're allowed to.
I went to one in Fort Worth one time that a guy that looked exactly like Chris Robinson from the Black Crowes was playing Black Crowes songs really well. I don't think it was him, but I think that he was trying to trick people.
I mean, you can't rule out that it was him.
That's true. He was really good. He did She Talks to Angels, and it was really spot on.
Interesting. That's weird. More likely it wasn't him. And that's super weird to okay, if I could play Black Crowes songs convincingly well, I would do that, sure. But I wouldn't begin to look like the band. In fact, I might go out of my way to not look like that band.
I met a guy at a wedding fairly recently that looked a lot like he had the same thing going on. The only difference was he had more feathers woven into his hair. More, yes. And he was trying to impress his date, much like I would assume Jay Rezezes would try to impress a wedding date, with tales about how he went to Joshua Tree and did LSD, and I was so goddamn embarrassed for him. Dude, it's not 1967/you're 38. Okay, let's move on to the story about DMT. I know exactly how that one goes. All right.
Yeah.
Have you even done these things? This is so scripted. What's happening?
Well, no, but I listened to a really detailed podcast about it. Okay.
Anyway, so Black Balloon.
Everybody's got to have a heroin song, Tim. Here's theirs.
I don't think it is, but okay.
It's called Black Balloon.
Yeah, Garrett, this is sure, it's about a person who uses heroin.
Okay.
But it's about the heroic actions of a Jay Rezez, his attempts to save her.
Oh,
it's
I see.
About how deep and meaningful and beautiful and thoughtful he is. He's going to save her when no one else can. But really, it's because it was 1998 and Jay Rezez wanted that sweet goose poon, as you would say.
I definitely wouldn't, but I do agree with what you're saying. Let me add a little cherry on top of that delicious sundae, perhaps some sprinkled pecans. I think this is a man going to rehabs to meet women and be their savior.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. No question here. Because he's not. Listen, he's
it's a
not.
It's a delightful and sobering sequel to The Wedding Crashers, the Rehab Crashers.
So This is a very choreographed and stereotyped thing that he does. He has 2 days to pull this off.
I thought it was traditionally 28.
Well, no. He's getting them out of rehab.
That's true. He is trying to get them to his quote-unquote facility, even though it is just a half of a duplex he rents.
Absolutely. Anyway, let's talk about this song.
Baby's black balloon makes her fly. I almost fell into that hole in your life, and you're not thinking about tomorrow, because you were the same as me, but on your knees. So she likes her heroin. He almost got addicted to heroin, but
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Well,
He's pretending to empathize. Yeah. He is demonstrating value.
Know it well. Sweet Lady H, done it 100 times. Makes you feel, like you're super drunk. No, I don't think so. Anyway, you're right, Tim. It's all lies. And you're not thinking about tomorrow because you were the same as me, but on your knees. So we were basically the same. I, of course, was way better. I got over it myself. Let me help you.
Right. You don't actually need to go to rehab. I can fix you in my apartment. Let's get those clothes off. They're gonna feel too constricting if you keep them on.
Well, sure, but first you gotta get them to that secondary location. Also, quite a sales pitch if you are also a patient at the same rehab. Hey, this is bullshit. I've got a fucking foolproof plan. Why are you in here then? Marketing. Huh? Grassroots, baby.
Well, and the worst part of this plan, though, is when your target tells one of her rehab friends about this amazing new opportunity, and then that rehab friend, who's always a guy, wants to come with you.
Dude, I totally want to get clean. I want to eat clean. I want to keep drugs out of my body. I want to have a positive mental attitude. Hey, that's really cool, Zach. Yeah, problem is, just don't have the space buds. Sorry. No, it's cool. I can park it on the couch. I'm good on the floor. Listen, man, I just got to get out of here. And I really like the vibe you're laying down. Fuck you, Zach.
Yeah, that guy's getting buried behind the duplex.
Yeah, he's going to have an accidental relapse the second night.
1,000 ever boys could never reach you. How could I have been the one? I saw the world spin beneath you and scatter like ice from the spoon that was your womb. This is terrible Gary poetry.
He is her savior, and he will rescue her from her spoon womb.
We also then get melodramatic mentions of angels. Now, they're not crying or dying, but I think it has the same effect here, right?
Yeah, well, they're falling.
Sure.
They're not. Who knows what happens when you land? Big old angel splat.
Coming down, the world turned over, and angels fall without you there. And I go on as you get colder, or are you someone's prayer?
I'm super interested in that last bit. Don't really give a shit about the rest. I do have notes. Who cares? This thing's too long. But, or are you someone's prayer? Sounds like somebody can merely save your life with a single prayer. Is that how it works?
If they're praying right, sure.
Well, I'll just say it. That is a terrifying statement. If they're praying right.
If they're praying to the right person, if they're praying in the right circumstances, if their heart is truly pure, if they've got the correct mat, if they're pointed in the correct direction, there's a lot of different variables here. Are you wearing your shoes?
A lot about your religion I don't understand.
Allah is very demanding, Garrett.
I don't know if that's your God.
I don't either. That's the problem, Garrett. Anywho, she had a terrible childhood. That's why she is the way she is. Verse 2, he goes, you know the lies they always told you and the love you never knew? What's the things they never showed you that swallow the light from the sun inside your room, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know what those lies were.
I don't know either. I think, again, he's just painting it as you're doing heroin because your parents didn't love you, etc., etc. But I'm here to love you. I've got a whole system.
Yeah, and he's saying, and I'll go on, and I'll lead you home. And all because I'm, and I'll become what you became to me.
Right, so...
I'll be your heroine.
Exactly, yeah. And here's the thing, he spent a lot of time fixing her. Now that she's clean, she better be grateful. She better spend a lot of time fixing him, if you know what I mean. And if you don't know what I mean... Fixing that dick.
Right. Fixing that dick. Effing that D, Gino. What do you think of that? He's
essentially pulling a pretty woman, and then once he's done with them, he's going to toss them back to that sweet, sweet H.
Or give them an invoice. But it ain't dollars and cents you're paying back, sweetheart. It's all HJs and BJs and double Zs and QRs and TDs.
Yeah. That month of rehab was costing you $98,000, and I expect $98,000 worth of HJs at minimum.
Wow. I'm not up to the exchange rate. I wonder what the going rate for an HJ is these days.
No idea.
It's a lot less than $98,000, I'll tell you that.
Track number 6, Bulletproof.
The way you feel, nothing hurts when no one's real.
That's some fake Nirvana Bush nonsense.
It sounds like that. Lyrically, it's like the worst version of Simon and Garfunkel's The Rock, I think. Like it's like the instead of I'm The Rock, it's I've got some creepy manipulative shit to send your way.
Yeah, it's weird that it's become a bit of a trope here on the show, so I try to avoid it, but sometimes the songs just make it impossible. This is pure cult recruitment shit, right? I mean,
I think more he's promoting codependency. Again, it's about him and it's a one-on-one basis. He's saying, don't trust anyone. No one is real. Everyone's lying to you. Everyone is manipulating you. They're making a fool of you. They're laughing at you.
yes.
Everyone except me. Let's go to the desert, use a little ayahuasca, and then maybe you touch it just a little.
Oh, I think it's much more of a long-term plan. I'm right there with you on everything you said. I don't think this is a one-and-done long weekend at Joshua Tree. I think this is more of a compound, long-term, maybe sister wives situation.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. The song claims to be 4 minutes and 39 seconds. I'd really put it at about 2.5 minutes because it completely repeats in the second half. But we'll get into the first half for funsies. They say, do you listen to yourself, never live for someone else? Do you like the way you feel? Nothing hurts when no one's real.
Do you like the way you feel? Nothing hurts when no one's real.
Yeah, this is a Bush song.
Get a machine head! Nope. Okay, sorry. Back to this Goo Goo Dolls it is? Oh, okay. Yeah, and as you said, Tim, super manipulative. The whole world is lies out to get you, but not me. Come with me, I have all of the answers. No, I don't have air conditioning. But then it continues. She wants to shake this scene. Yeah, she wants to shake with me. She's not looking for the holes in all their lies. I am. I'm looking out for her. So already people are like, hey, everything okay over here? Yeah, I'm taking care of her, bro. She wants to be here. Okay. She just has kind of a scared look on her face. Yeah,
that's what women look like. Okay.
Show me a woman with me that doesn't look scared. Okay. I want to bulletproof your soul. Would you like to lose control? I won't let you fall till you tell me so. I mean, They're going crotch first into a sex cult, if I've ever heard it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make your soul bulletproof. That sounds good, right?
Yeah, it's got a very, the Thetans will not be able to get you as long as you keep fucking me.
Right. I'm going to coat that uterus in armor.
Oh, dear. Well, the uterus is where the souls live.
That can't be accurate. Cheeto, get a map. I don't think it's going to be on there. Get a map. Gross. Have we covered the all too peculiar, would you come my way? Throughout the song, it is off-putting.
It sure is, friend.
Let's go on to track number 7, Am I Gone?
Did you look up what the title refers to?
Sure did.
It's insane.
It's delightful.
So this is apparently named after a chain of funeral homes in Buffalo. Now, I went to their website, looked them up. Am I Gone is, of course, the owner/chief executive officer's last name, as well as several of the other people on the board, because they have a board. What a terrible name for a funeral home.
It's Am I Gone?
Right, I understand, but it sounds like, and it reads like the question, am I gone? Which to me feels like a question a trapped spirit might ask, and if you're a funeral home, you shouldn't imply, just steer clear of these implications.
Sure, it's a little unfortunate. I'm not entirely sure anybody over the age of 9 would have ever looked at it and said that, but without having heard the song.
You said it like that when you read the song.
Shut up. Used to be 15 locations, Tim, down to 13. Don't know what happened. Funeral home and crematorium. There was an acquisition in Western New York, folks, for all your corpse needs.
And if you're anything like us, you have some needs.
Sure do. Turns out there are laws about what you do with dead bodies. Who knew? Every time you point your finger, 3 more point right back at you.
Okay, come on. That's dumb fortune cookie nonsense.
I'm not saying that there's something wrong with life, because that's a sad excuse. Okay, right up top, every time you blame somebody for something going wrong, 3 people are like, actually, it's your fucking fault. So we established the main character, or at least the partner of the main character, is a piece of shit. And I'm not saying that there's something wrong with the other people, because that's a sad excuse. You can't blame other people. So they're probably right to point their finger. Then it goes on, an age-old game of rat and mouse, chasing us from house to house. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with you. It's wrong with me as well. So I think that he is saying, you're a piece of shit, which we've heard in several songs now. But don't worry, I am also a huge piece of shit. So it works out great, baby. But in reality, we're going to learn that maybe that's not exactly the case. Anything to add?
Nope.
All right, so then we get into what I think is the chorus. He says, are you alive? Am I gone? Miracles gone wrong? Is it too late to call and tell you to be strong?
Yeah, this is a conversation with a ghost.
It is exactly a conversation with a ghost. So I think that they were getting evicted from yet another home. They'd ruined another house, chased from house to house, that classic game of rat and mouse. And he's like, classic us. We're real pieces of shit. We kept forgetting to pay the rent, when in reality, he kept forgetting to pay the rent. She remembered to pay all the bills. His job was the fucking rent. So once again, they're being forced to move. And he's like, classic us, right? Always forgetting what we're doing. Well, in reality, Tim, she's sick of this bullshit. She's ruining her credit. So, little arsenic in the iced tea. She's poisoned him. He doesn't realize it, having a conversation Beetlejuice style, thinking that he's a living, breathing corpse.
Spoilers.
What?
For Beetlejuice.
Oh, fuck off, you. For like 18 reasons. Just fuck straight off. Anyway.
Okay. Less friendly and less banter than I was hoping for, but all right, let's just move right along with the fuck off. Cool.
Yep, fuck you for that. Anyway, when in reality, he's realizing she poisoned him, he is now dead, and she's talking to a ghost.
Sure.
Are you alive? Am I gone? Miracles gone wrong? Was that poison in our blood there all along? Am I gone? Well, it wasn't our blood, dummy. Your blood. You ate rat poison.
Well, yeah. So maybe he knows he's dead, but he's still able to talk to her, so he thinks she is also dead, and she just hasn't told him, I didn't poison us both, stupid. Maybe it's a suicide pact, and now they're Beetlejuicing it, and she hasn't worked up the courage to tell him that she didn't go through with it.
That actually is where I started, and I scratched it just because it sounded too grim. I'm not even joking. Cut it out last night, last minute. But no, that's exactly what it sounds like. That they had a pact, and then he was like, see you on the other side, babe. And she was like, all right, I'll be right behind you. I'm sorry. But we'll lighten it a little bit. She never intended on doing it. She just had to get rid of this piece of shit. And he kept suggesting suicide pact, so she was like, sure. Then he drank the Kool-Aid, and she was like, well, nobody's probably going to question it because he was always talking about suicide. So guess I'll go get a job at the Gap.
Yeah.
Time to move, leaving his ghost trapped in that shitty apartment.
Absolutely. Snopple branded fun fact number 281.
Oh, I love this one.
All employees of the Gap are only working there because they recently poisoned their significant other.
Or were accused of.
Cashier to CEO, every single employee.
Innocent until proven guilty. Allegedly.
Absolutely, but I mean, my point is don't accept drinks from people at the Gap.
Oh yeah, if you're at the Gap picking up a pair of slacks and they're like, hey, can I get you a drink? Don't drink that.
Nope, because they all have poisoned at least one individual.
Also, the Gap doesn't have drinks.
That's true.
So, watch out.
Track 8, All Eyes on Me, the Tupac cover.
So I have two very divergent takes for the first part of this song, and then it becomes pretty consistent with the rest of this album. But let me give you the only bright spot I have on this entire album. So he opens with, daylight burns your sleepy eyes, and it's hard to see you dreaming. You hide inside yourself. I wonder what you're thinking, and everything you're chasing seems to leave you empty. So we're going to talk about what that could mean in a minute, but I immediately thought of a description of a dog sleeping in the sun.
Interesting. I thought it was about dating a vampire.
I told you there were two things it's about. But yes, we'll talk about what it's obviously about in a moment. But it kind of does describe like a golden retriever just kind of chasing rabbits in the sun. But anyway, yes, so daylight burns your sleepy eyes and it's hard to see you dreaming. You hide inside yourself. I wonder what you're thinking, and everything you're chasing, it seems to leave you empty. So never-ending thirst for human blood. Is she dating a vampire, Tim?
He's dating a vampire.
Oh, I like it. Okay. I'm dating a vampire. A lady vampire. A lampire.
Yeah. And I won't take long.
A vampirette. Sorry.
Oh, it is probably vampirette.
It's
like that.
Vampiress. I think it's Vampiress. I like Vampirette.
They probably at this point prefer just vampire. Like a lot of like lady actors, they like to say actor,
probably.
not actress. Anyway.
I mean, I'm on board with that. Why bother? What does it matter if they're feasting on your carotid?
Well, I don't know. And it won't take long to burn All Eyes on Me through the nothing that you've learned, all eyes on me, and the things you choose to be, all eyes on me, but your eyes look away. It's so hard to be someone strung out from today, and all you knew slips away. And actually, let me do verse 2 here as well, because I think it kind of all goes together. You drown in deeper oceans, inventing new religions. They smile and stab my back, and I lie and I have to laugh. What I actually think this is they're both vampires, and they've been together for so long that they're really getting tired of one another.
Sure, a couple 1-2 millennia with another person, you'll get pretty snipey.
Yeah, they've always been. So he is the originator of religion, or they are the originator of religions, mostly to explain why they're immortal. You know, people have tried to kill them by stabbing his back. They have to move. It's kind of a hassle. But
sure.
Then you get the nothing that you've learned. And it comes off as he's criticizing the girlfriend, again, also an immortal monster. You've been alive for 1,200 years. You've seen civilizations rise and fall. You've caused civilizations to rise and fall. And you're still a dumb bitch who's learned nothing.
And you still cannot figure out who's done it on CSI.
I like
it's the guy they interviewed second.
That's true. That's true. Also,
with the shifty eyes. Oh, I love that. They love each other, but they also just are fucking sick of it.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing, listen, we're all meant to die. This has been too long.
Yeah. What is that number for you think, Tim?
I don't know, 48?
What?
Yeah. I don't have that much in me.
God almighty.
I'm rapidly running out. We're back to vampires again on this goddamn show, Garrett.
Listen, I've thought about this long and hard. We can only play the cards we're dealt. If the Goo Goo Dolls write a song about vampires, we're not going to ignore that. We're going to talk about it.
That's fair.
And if those vampires are an old married couple that kind of hate each other, we're going to talk about that too.
Absolutely.
Track number 9, Full Forever, another Takak original.
The phrase eyelid wrestling has been bothering me all week. I just want to say that up top. Don't care for whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry. Got a wild take here, Tim.
Me too.
Okay, interesting. Let's get into it. And I've had a fight. Another blurred affair tonight. Eyelids wrestle once again. Never going to see my friend. Guided by the blinding white. Let's pause there. So, someone's had a fight. They don't quite remember it. It's a blurred affair. They had restless eyelids, we'll say. Maybe couldn't stay asleep. And they're never going to see their friend because they were guided by a blinding white.
Yeah, it might be, it's like that trying to keep your eyes open, trying to stay awake. They're wrestling their eyelids up, maybe? I don't know.
Interesting. Eyelids wrestle once again. Yeah, I see that. Trying to stay awake. Okay. So they were guided by a blinding white. Their friend is gone. Something happened they don't quite remember. Song continues. Have you left home in spite from knowing I'm alone tonight? Waiting for the light of day doesn't matter anyway. Something that I need to say. I'm going to reveal it, Tim. I think this guy is a werewolf.
Garrett, I also think he's a werewolf.
I really wrestled with this. I took it 18 different ways. At one point I thought she was the wolf, but I think he is the werewolf. And I think he ate her.
Maybe. I think, so, okay, let's do a couple more lyrics here, and then let's discuss in further detail. Pre-chorus. And I've gone underground, I'm never hanging around, should have made it back again. Chorus. Why can't the moon stay full forever? Wednesday's bad, but Fridays ain't much better. Someone's hell. Why can't the moon stay full forever? Right now she's got nothing on her mind. So I think this song is about, you know that feeling when you're young and full of piss and vinegar, you go out with your friends, you get really fucked up, you have a borderline illegal adventures, no one ever seems to have to answer for them. Yeah, chug some vinegar, play vinegar roulette. You have great stories, you cause havoc, you smash ceiling tiles in a dorm, you destroy a dryer.
Have a hammer fight.
Yeah, and then you turn 30, like it all kind of stops because the hangovers get too bad, but you miss those times, right? Like you don't go out with your friends anymore like you normally would. You miss those times. It's all like that, except instead of drinking, he gets that feeling from turning into a werewolf with his buddies and going around being some sort of hairy hooligan, murdering and eating and such, right? That's why can't the moon stay full forever? He misses that youthful feeling of, you know,
getting out there and feasting on the flesh of the innocent.
Yeah, really just partying, but as a werewolf, right? Because, okay.
Well, sure, but a werewolf party is mostly just feasting on the flesh of the innocent.
Yeah, and drinking mead. They love mead. I don't know what it is. I think it's their connection to bears and mead's connection to honey.
Okay. No, mead is a very, very sweet and thick beverage, I've heard. But, just so we're clear, I want to make sure we're not talking nonsense. I should be picturing them in man form, not werewolf form.
No, Garrett. That's why they want the moon to stay full forever.
So they can feast on mugs of ale as wolves. Are they bowls?
I mean,
Who's making it?
Listen, Garrett, if a wolf comes into your establishment, you're doing it however they want. My point is they just want to go out and party and murder and eat and drink and, have hammer fights, as you said.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Well, what I thought was a metaphor turns out is literal. That's confusing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also a metaphor.
Will this Neverland free me from its clutching hand? It won't release me. He's saying those really fun, free times are getting fewer and fewer. He wishes the moon could just stay full forever. He wishes he could be a full-time wild wolf man. Maybe he got married and his wife won't let him go out and werewolf it up with his buddies anymore. He's down to once or twice a year. He doesn't feel like a man. He doesn't feel like a
wolf.
Like a wolf man anymore. Right. A man
God,
wolf.
you and I are very close here. Let me make some tweaks, if I may, going all the way back to when you hear, "Have you left home in spite? From knowing I'm alone tonight." I think she leaves whenever the moon's going to be full, and then everything you said is 100% true. But then there's a number of parts of this song where he says, "Should have made it back again, should have made it back, won't see my friend again," things of this nature. I think she goes off, she stays in an undisclosed location so he doesn't accidentally consume her, and then, she didn't come back one night. And so he wishes everything you said is true. He doesn't want to have to deal with the guilt of knowing he almost certainly ate his girlfriend. But he wants to just hang out with his bros, wolf out, have those big old bowls of mead. Ale? Mead. Big old bowls of mead he prepares beforehand, I assume, because paws are not dexterous enough to pour mead.
Yeah, you put a bunch of bowls out and then you drink them like a dog would.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They put out the mead bowls before the transformation. Yeah, I think we're on the same page. But he wants it to last forever. Why can't the moon stay full forever? However, see, I interpret this last bit you read differently when he says, "Will this Neverland free me from its clutching hand? It won't release me." I think he's saying, as much fun as it is to wolf out with his bros, his wolf bros, and, drink mead, kill people, he's like, honestly, at this point, enough. Like, I need a good night's sleep. I gotta pay my bills. I can't be an accountant and a wolf. It's just too much.
Fair enough. I like it.
Track number 10, the very disappointing acoustic number 3.
What's the point in never trying? Nothing's changing.
Yeah, it is disappointing. It's not as good as number 2, way better than 1 or 4, though.
It is nothing special, and there's absolutely nothing really wrong with it.
Sure, sort of. Musically, there's nothing really wrong with it. I think the lyrics are insane.
This might be the one where I was just like, I'm not sure what the fuck this is about.
On its face, it's a very kind of surface level description of the parents that are in sort of a loveless marriage, essentially what screwed whoever the subject is up so that they're on heroin or whatever some of those earlier songs about, maybe why they became a wolf. I don't know.
I'll tell you, I was picturing somebody at a bus stop and a guy pulling up in an unmarked car.
Ooh.
Either way, he says, "They painted up your secrets with the lies they told to you, and the least they ever gave you was the most you ever knew," which is mostly gibberish.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's just talking about somebody's parents.
Yeah, they hid secrets from you with lies.
Right. If this
Good
is
way to hide
about
secrets.
his own parents, it's weird because, again, they died when he was 15 and 16. So I'm assuming he's singing it to his girlfriend about, like, her childhood, and that's super insulting. Like, imagine if you were dating somebody and their new song came on the radio. Like, imagine hearing this song for the first time and knowing it was this guy's insanely condescending view of you.
Your mother stabbed your father on a Tuesday. You told me that and said don't ever tell. Babe, it's coded. No, I called you May.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this dumb song continues, and I wonder where these dreams go when the world gets in your way. What's the point in all this screaming? No one's listening anyway, which sounds like classic grooming. Your parents aren't going to help you. God's not listening. Why don't you get into this curiously old Corolla, and I'll show you the truth.
Jesus. I mean, that's
His
not
words, not mine.
inaccurate, because the next part is your voice is small and fading, and you're hiding here all alone. And your mother loves your father because she's got nowhere to go. He's saying this is just how relationships are. You're supposed to be constantly terrified. She wonders where those dreams go because the world got in her way. What's the point in ever trying? Nothing's changing anyway. Listen, babe, you got nowhere to go. Like, not only am I the best you'll ever do, I'm the only that you'll ever do.
Yeah, well, I think he's saying you don't want to end up trapped like your mother. Come with me on this magical adventure in my 1998 Corolla.
It's painted a weird color.
I've got some pills that I got from a guy at a bus stop. I don't know what they do, but we can take them.
Ooh.
They press their lips against you, and you love the lies they say. And I tried so hard to reach you, but you're falling anyway. And you know, I see right through you, because the world gets in your way. What's the point in all this screaming? You're not listening anyway. Classic final neg. You know what? I'm done. I tried to help you. I wish I could have gotten here sooner. Clearly, you don't want my help. Closing the door to the Corolla, driving away. No, wait. What's that? You want help now? Yeah. Because, you know, I'm sorry, if a safe, warm home with food and TV is not what you're into, I can go. This Corolla can go. Or you can hang out on your cold bus stop. Or you can stop being such a bitch and be one of my angels.
Oh, okay. Track number 11.
Ascension.
Track number 11, Iris. This song was, of course, written for and about Nicolas Cage in 1998's second best film, after 1998's Godzilla, of course, City of Angels.
Tim's third favorite Nicolas Cage film, and curiously, his fourth favorite Meg Ryan film.
Absolutely. He is not in that Joe versus the Volcano one. I like that movie. Anyway, Jay
Fighting a volcano.
Better movie. Jay Rezizes said, when I wrote it, I was thinking about the situation of the Nicolas Cage character in the movie. The guy is completely willing to give up his own immortality just to be able to feel something very human. And I think, wow, what an amazing thing it must be like to love someone so much that you give up everything to be with them. That's a pretty heavy thought.
Beautiful. Well read. Can I give the 15-second version of what City of Angels is about? Spoilers ahead.
Sure.
Just so people have it in context. So, Nicolas Cage is an angel. It's his job to help guide people when they die to the next realm, presumably heaven. So he usually hangs out around them right before they die. They can't see him. He's hanging out, getting ready for a dude who's having a heart attack. Meg Ryan is the surgeon, trauma surgeon maybe, trying to save him in the ER, not sure. And long story short, she doesn't save him, but she can sense Nicolas Cage is there. Nicolas Cage falls in love with this lady. Turns out angels can't fuck humans, so he has to kill himself in order to become mortal so he can bang Meg Ryan. Jumps off a building, becomes mortal, falls in love with Meg Ryan, goes and bangs her. Meg Ryan goes to get coffee. Tragically, on her way back, she gets hit by a logging truck on a bicycle. She dies, goes to heaven. Nicolas Cage left on Earth alone.
And I'd give up forever to touch you, because I know that you'd feel me somehow. You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be, and I don't want to go home right now. Picture a mix of that movie, Garrett's 8th grade poetry, and Francis Dollarhud.
Do you see?
Yes, because that's exactly what happens in this song. He says, all I can taste is this moment. All I can breathe is your life. And sooner or later it's over. I just don't want to miss you tonight. Then he goes on and says, and I don't want the world to see me because I don't think that they'd understand. So he wants to keep what he's doing secret. But it might be maybe one person will understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am, which, if I may translate, do you see? Look upon me and know my glory. I envy you, for you get to see my ultimate becoming. You get to bear witness to the grand transformation, to see the first step to my own personal ekpyrosis.
I get to play the Freddie Lowndes character.
Oh, you look upon me.
I don't want to see.
Look upon me. Do you see?
I don't want to see.
Jeez, I just want you to know who I am. I don't want the world to see me because I don't think they'd understand. I just want you to know who I am.
You can still let me go.
Right. It's It's pretty much that. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
Good
I also
stuff.
love how half-assed the instrumentals are throughout this album. Like, we haven't mentioned this yet. Usually, though, an instrumental consists of like a guitar solo or like an interesting instrument that they're kind of featuring in the song that maybe adds to or complements the specific song, the specific theme. Here, it's just what they call it when no one is singing.
Background music.
Yeah.
Something to sing to, kinda. Ugh, yeah. It's hard to really dig into this. It's pretty much about Nicolas Cage, which you'd think I would like more, but let's see.
Is that
What have
the
you
first
not
time
read?
that we've had a confirmed song about Nicolas Cage? I feel like we've suggested there's some Nicolas Cage songs before.
That's true. Whatever episode LaFace came from was not certainly guaranteed to be about Nicolas Cage. Seemed
Sure.
like it, though. Yeah, this might be the first official song. And folks, if you know of more songs that are officially about Nicolas Cage, please submit them. Also, Tim, I want to remind you, Steven Seagal is around the corner. It's happening. You've been dodging him for at least a year.
Oh, I'm in.
That Crystal Cave is coming.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it'll be fun. I've got so much history written. In fact, really, let me rephrase. I have constructed a single file that is a 3-episode dollop that I have compressed and I will claim is my voice.
I mean, it sounds right. That's a thing you've done basically in the past. Anyway, back to this song. What horrible lyrics have we not read? And I don't want this is just weird. I don't want the world to see me because I don't think that they'd understand when everything, maybe don't become human then. Maybe ask your Jesus to make Meg Ryan the angel and then nobody has to see him and then she doesn't. He doesn't
angels
have to be left
don't have
alone.
genitals, so they both have to be human.
Oh, that was not said in the movie.
That's why it's subtext.
What do you mean it's subtext?
Why can't they have sex?
I thought it was just like a rule.
No, it's because he doesn't have genitals.
Or like if he orgasms as an angel, it'd like be too powerful
You're
for
thinking
her.
of Superman.
Like, I am thinking of Superman. I'm sorry.
And you can't fight the tears that ain't coming or the moment of truth in your lies. When everything feels like the movies, you bleed just to know you're alive.
Not gonna lie, Tim. Occasionally, if that came on in the car and I was alone, I'm shouting it.
Oh, I'm still shouting it to this day.
So basically, angels throwing themselves off a building in order to bang Meg Ryan is the equivalent of teen cutting.
Yes.
Okay. Then you get 3 choruses, an instrumental break, and an outro where they just repeat, I just want you to know who I am over and over again until you or the song kills itself.
Track number 12, Extra Pale, another Carl original.
Carl! Bassist Robbie Takak back on lead vocals. And it's like a bad MXPX impression, just gonna say it.
Yeah, this is a skippable song. I feel like we should skip it.
Boy, you're not wrong. The only reason I don't want to skip it, I don't have a lot of notes, but I did come up with what I think is a pretty good theory from a pretty shitty song.
Okay.
Let me run through it. Extra pale. Oh, you're frail now. I couldn't laugh about it. Tragedy sets you free, but should have known it from the start. First, I thought this was a guy into old ladies, real granny shagger, as they like to say. But she's become too old and now he can't shag. But scratch that. Now I think it is about a man who has murdered his wife, Tim, but there's a reason. He has murdered her because he has learned that she is a willing participant in a Truman Show style deception that is his entire life. He continues, I should have known that it was just another sequel for you. How's your day? Did it go your way? But you never ask about it. All the things I wish I'd be, I should have known it from the start. It was just another sequel, etc., etc. It's all just a big facade there, Tim. She never asked how your day was because she knew how his day was because she had seen the script. She'd watched the dailies.
Right. That's fair. I like it. Yeah.
There's no other explanation for this song.
I agree.
Track 13, Gino. Hate this place.
May I throw out a theory of what this song is?
Please do.
This is about dating Batman.
Interesting. Okay, I don't want to spoil a thing. Just know I also have a theory, so let's hear yours.
Okay, fair enough. This is about not knowing somebody you're dating has a secret identity. They refuse to tell you why they come back so bruised and sweaty and stinking of leather and hired goons, and it's just tearing the relationship.
Powder, I assume.
Right, sure, yeah. You get in that suit every day. But it's just tearing the relationship apart.
Oh, sure.
Gone away. Who knows where you've been? But you take all your lies, and I wish them away. I somehow doubt we'll will ever be the same. There's too much poison and confusion on your face.
All right, pause there. So, I love yours. Yours fits beautifully. Here's mine, just for funsies. First, I thought it was a girlfriend who'd gone off to college and was back for summer vacation with her townie boyfriend who didn't leave, and they said they'd always be together, and now they're back together, but he can tell, like, it's kind of for show. But that just didn't sit for me. And I happened to be watching the old Avengers Infinity War on mute, and it occurred to me that this song very much could be about a girlfriend-boyfriend pair. Maybe they're about 17, starting that senior year of high school, and one of them gets blipped.
Oh.
And then the boyfriend comes back. Let's make it the boyfriend. That's fun. Comes back. He's 17. She's 22. It's 5 years. Gone away. Who knows where you've been? You promised you'd love me forever as I was turning into dust. But did you, you stupid bitch? I mean, he says, but you take all your lies and you wish them all away. Yeah, you wish that you had stayed true to me now that I'm back. But, you know, in your defense, nobody ever thought that they'd figure out a way to turn back time. But if anybody would, T-Stark. Anyway, I somehow doubt we'll ever be the same. There's just too much poison and confusion on your face. Not to mention, she's a 22-year-old woman now, Tim. He's a 17-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I like yours. So Batman or a weird age gap created by Marvel's blip or the
Absolutely.
snap.
And I think, both of these theories are valid. I just want to hop down to the bridge and then we can be done with this goddamn album.
Love it.
Hey, what did you do to me? Would you come back to me? Yeah, I can't do another day. I'm not certain of it anyway. I ain't messing with another life. Can I get along without you? Tell me the lies that you know I need. Eventually, in my theory, Jay breaks down and just agrees to believe whatever lies make this relationship work because he cannot get enough of that chiseled on the mean streets bat bod.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't care about the rest of this. I pretty much have what you have. One of them is desperate to make it work no matter what. And yours, it's Batman. And mine, it's I don't know, we'll say Spider-Man.
Fair enough.
Tim, how'd this thing do?
Pretty well. It sold more than 5 million copies in the US alone, although it only hit number 15 on the US Billboard 200. It hit number 17 on the Australian charts, number 20 on the Austrian charts, number 27 in Belgium, number 4 in Canada, number 30 in Germany, number 19 in New Zealand, number 35 in Norway, number 17 on the Swedish Sverigetoplista, number 47 in the UK, and of course, never forgotten, always the ultimate list, the one and only Dutch, hit number 38. Unclear where, but in the Dutch.
Great. And what do people think of it?
Well, there are 744 total ratings on Amazon, 4.7 out of 5 stars on average, 83% 5-star, 2% 1-star. So, first one here is by Tony Ukena, called Dizzy Up the Girl from 2005. December 31st. This is how this guy spent his New Year's Eve.
7 years after it came out.
The album cover is rather disturbing and appears to be a model suffocating from the starvation of life. The band's name seems to almost be a metaphor of how, in life, we're all a bunch of Goo Goo Dolls, with how society seems to play us or...
That's not an expression!
...quote-unquote dizzy us up with the human condition caused by the eventual layers of conflicts and contradiction in a society that seems to brainwash the notion that commercialism leads to happier, more stable lifestyles. All cultures, suburban, country, small town, or cosmopolitan, have sociological cultures that ruin ideals, leaving the marrow of life depleted by the temptation of ephemeral anesthetics of maggot-like forces, alcohol, drugs, unhappy jobs, peer pressure, abusive relationships, both emotional and physical, political undertones, privacy infringements, and tensions, because all humans are ultimately better. What? Yet, as is often the case with life, are forced beyond their will to think the same way. Slide is a very sensitive song. I was in New York last November 2005 on a weekend when, at a subway station near 50th Street in Manhattan, some guy at around midnight was singing this song in the intimacy of his own musical moment. Musically, it is romantic in a small town sense, and lyrically, it is about dynamics of young man coming to peace with the fact that his girlfriend, May, has had an abortion. The song seems to be a disparative commitment despite what happened, apparently against the young man's wishes. Ultimately, every song on the album seems to have a point, either musically or lyrically. It's one of the 10 CDs I keep in my car every morning to listen to every time I drive to work, 5 out of 5 stars.
It takes exactly 10 CDs to listen to get to work. What in the world, dude? That guy sucks.
Next one here is by Rocky IV, the movie, wrote a review on this album. It's called It Goes Well With, I don't know, Pokemon? Pardon me while I clean up my vomit to make room for more vomit. Still trying to understand the garbage these kids are listening to.
Me?
Still trying to listen to the garbage these kids are listening to these days. They call this alternative rock, and by that I think they mean alternative to real music. Blank Tape has more substance than this music. This group sounds like part of the mainstream corporate giant consisting of hundreds of talentless bands just like this one, good for only one thing: killing good music as we know it. Okay, kids, this music is okay for now, but once you get potty trained, it's time to move on. That way you won't need someone else to help you remove crap from your CD collection. 1 out of 5 stars.
Guy's so angry about the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah.
It's not that bad, honestly.
No, it's just mediocre.
Yeah, also, I don't understand the idea that the Goo Goo Dolls are like eating up good music.
Oh, well, Garrett, every song they make, every other band got to make one less song.
Yeah, it seems to be what
Weird
people are
monkey's
implying.
paw.
Yeah, I don't think that's how music works. Anyway, that's what people thought of it. Tim, who's this for?
Everyone that was living in 1998.
Correct. That brings us to final thoughts. Having gone all the way through it, has anything new occurred to you that changes or alters your opinion about this album?
No, not really.
It's one of those rare episodes where my opinion has not dramatically shifted more negative.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'm in the same position. So I guess we've kind of already done it. Garrett, I assume you don't hate this based on that previous statement.
No, sir, I do not. How about you? Do you hate this album?
No. I do kind of met it, though. I don't, I think it's boring.
I may have demoted it to a meh.
Yeah.
And some of those bassist songs, the Kikak or Chichak or... Carl, you can't protect them all, Rick.
Anyway, that's it.
Yeah.
We're done.
Great. LaFace.
We're back on Google+. I signed us up again. I have been Timothy P. Richardson, and on April 30th, 2014, Garrett P. Harvey said, "My stomach may blossom a whole hernia bush."
Oh, God. I haven't even done the end of this.
Yeah, it's
thing
fine.
yet.
They know. Google+. Find us on Google+.
We're
It's
not
fine.
on Google+.
We're on Google+, and they can find the rest of it in a different episode ending.
Twitter, album HatePod. Instagram, HatePod. G. Harvey tweets on Twitter. Tim's a weirdo. HatePod.com. hatePodMail@gmail.com. We got subreddits. We got a Discord server. Links in the Twitter feed. DM me if you can't find it. That's it. For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
Hernia bush.
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.